Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Noon News. I'm Samantha Sullivan. New information is being released in the federal case against a former Miles City athletic trainer accused of the sexual abuse of dozens of boys. Newly filed documents state James Jensen was catfishing boys on the internet, and the abuse crossed state lines. A relative told prosecutors she believed Jensen had high school-aged boyfriends all across the country. Another relative saying they found Jensen using photos of students to represent himself as a teenager online. Two victims also described abuse out of state, one at a wrestling tournament in North Dakota, the other on an athletic trip to California. It was all part of the program which he used to sexually abuse male athletes under the promise of increased athletic performance. Last week, Jensen was ready to plead guilty to the federal charge of using means of interstate commerce to persuade or coerce a minor into sexual activity, but the judge stopped him before he could, saying he first needed more proof from prosecutors. Jensen will be back in court tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, a bill going through the legislature could affect other cases brought against Jensen, but the fate of that bill, which would extend or end Montana's statute of limitations on child sexual abuse, is now up in the air. MTN's Andrea Lutz has more.
While Jim Jensen is being criminally charged federally for internet crimes, some 31 plaintiffs in a massive civil case may never be given that justice. They hoped for a change in law during Montana's 2019 legislature.
It's an epidemic right now in Montana, and it's like the, Rome's burning, and the legislators are slow walking this.
House Bill 202, sponsored by Democrat Shane Morigeau, initially had widespread bipartisan support aimed at extending or ending the civil statute of limitations law altogether.
My perspective all along has been, if someone's been sexually abused as a child, you should never be able to escape the justice system. But
plaintiffs in Jensen's sex abuse case say then came Billings Representative Bill Mercer.
I think the Morigeau bill is not good public policy, and I'm trying to work with both people on judiciary and outside of judiciary to see if we can come up with a different approach.
Survivors of the abuse say sexual massages and rub-downs occurred under the direction of Jensen to enhance athletic ability.
All of our clients are being deposed. They're all being asked intimate and personal details. It re-traumatizes victims, and that's the current state of the law.
However, Mercer says it should stay that way and instead focus on Montana's criminal statute of limitation laws.
And so we're busy trying to work through those issues and figure out, what should we do with the statute of limitations on the civil side and the criminal side.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Andrea tells us Representative Bill Mercer does not serve on the House Judiciary Committee, where the bill was introduced and is currently being heard. In Great Falls, a judge imposes one of the harshest penalties he has ever given. Judge Greg Pinsky sentenced Richard Tome to a life in the Montana State Prison for raping a 13-year-old developmentally disabled girl. Tome was found guilty back in December. Before imposing his sentence, Judge Pinsky said he could not find the words to describe this crime.
There are absolutely no words to describe the horrific nature of this crime. I could call it horrific, I could call it violent, I could call it appalling or disgusting, but those words fail to capture the utter depravity of the crime that Mr. Tome committed.
The state had asked for him to be sentenced to a life in prison, and the defense did not offer a recommendation. In other news this afternoon, Montana lawmakers are hard at work on the first draft of the state's two-year budget. On Wednesday, a 9-member panel wrapped up its initial work on the biggest portion, Health and Human Services. Health and Human Services accounts for 40% of the state's overall budget. The subcommittee crafting the budget approved a slight increase and restored some of the cuts made during the past year. Perhaps the most significant change is more money for nursing homes, assisted living centers, and other private providers that take care of the elderly, the mentally ill, and the disabled. Lawmakers still must figure out where they'll get the money to cover the state's share of the Children's Health Insurance Plan after a big drop in federal funding. Also happening in Helena, representatives from Montana's resort communities asked the legislature to let them increase the resort tax to pay for infrastructure needs. It's a tax of up to 3% on things like hotels, restaurants, and gifts. Now resort communities are asking for the option to add an additional 1% tax specifically to pay for infrastructure. Senate Bill 241, sponsored by Republican Senator Jeff Welborn of Dillon, would let voters in those communities decide whether to add that additional amount. Meanwhile, a bill paving the way for the state to become an investment partner in large economic development efforts, such as the One Big Sky project in Billings, is taking shape. Billings Senator Roger Webb, the chief sponsor, says 5 Montana communities have already expressed an interest in the bill that requires $300 million in private investment to trigger an infusion of $125 million in state money. Webb stresses his bill is still a work in progress, but has the potential to spark billions of dollars in economic development for the state.
It has the potential, it has the capability of generating billions of dollars. I mean, can you imagine 5 of these projects going at once? That's potentially $5 billion. And our state budget's only 10. But this has a 20, 30, 40-year impact that nothing else has.
All right, now we're going to turn things over to Ed in the Weather Center. Ed, it seems like this whole state is going through this miserable cold together.
That's right. At least we've got this shared.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of a taste of it. Now let's start off some sunshine. We got Missoula right now at 22, one of the warmer readings, but with a southeast wind at 17 miles an hour, it still drives that wind chill down. Here's a look out towards Flathead Lake from around Polson from our ICAM there. Also looking in around Great Falls, only 9 degrees. The wind chill factor only about 1 above. The snow showers are starting to wind down a little bit region-wide. Buttes at 10 degrees now, but still some cloud cover around. Sunshine breaking through at 14 right now in Helena, but again, that wind chill is only in the single digits. And around Billings, light snow through the morning. Temperatures are now in the teens. We'll take a closer look at the rest of the forecast details coming up.
All right, thanks, Ed. State leaders say people over 65 are the top targets for financial abuse and exploitation. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian takes a look at a new partnership they hope will help stop those cases faster.
At the office of State Auditor Matt Rosendale, Montana's Insurance and Securities Commissioner, about 3/4 of securities fraud cases involve people over 65. Leaders say seniors are targeted because they control most of the country's wealth.
That's where the money is. That's where the con artists are preying. That's where exploiters are looking to get rich quickly.
In 2017, Montana lawmakers passed a bill allowing financial institutions to delay payouts from vulnerable people's accounts when they suspect exploitation.
The industry is a great eyes for their seniors. They are the ones that know them. They know their past patterns and practices, and if something seems unusual, we've encouraged them to reach out to us. We have tools to help.
Since then, Rosendale's office says they've received about 30 reports of possible exploitation and stopped $5 million in suspicious transactions. Rosendale says they've begun looking for better ways to protect Montana seniors.
We started realizing that there's other agencies that could be involved in this process to help us identify these problems earlier.
Rosendale has announced a senior financial exploitation task force. At the first meeting last month, those in attendance included Attorney General Tim Fox and leaders from the Department of Public Health and Human Services, the County Attorneys Association, and more. They'll work together to improve communications if someone spots suspected exploitation and create training so people can recognize warning signs.
Those folks have worked their entire lives, they've saved, they tried to prepare for their later years, and so we're just trying to make sure that someone doesn't swoop in and take advantage of them.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, coming up here on the Noon News, after 2 years, the special counsel investigation may finally be winding down. But first, Ed's back with a look towards another chilly weekend. Your forecast is right after the break.
You're watching MTN News with Samantha Sullivan. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Ag Network. This is the Noon News on Q2, Montana's news leader.